Excellent. Welcome everyone to the year 2025. It's January 15th, middle of the month. Not that I want any extra favors, but my birthday's in 3 days. I do take money. E-transfer is fine. That's fantastic. Right?
No, but probably not.
No. All right, we're gonna call a meeting to order. And the town of Diamond Valley acknowledges the traditional territories of the people of Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta, including the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, and Kainai First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda, Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley, aka Goodstoney First Nations, the Dene of Tsuut'ina First Nations, the Métis Region 3, and all those that make Treaty 7 lands their home, including all of us. All right, we have a addition. But let's get the consent agenda out of the way first, and then we'll move on to this one.
May I ask to pull the CAO report, please?
Yes, you may. Council, CAO report. Good. Excellent. We will remove that and place it on, let's go 9.1, action items, just for discussion.
Yeah.
Yep, 9.1 good. 9.1 CIO report. All right. Also, we have the alternative representative to Marigold Library Systems Board. Would that be appropriate to put it as 9.2, Brendan?
On the regular, yes.
Yes, please. Okay, I will point that out for an addendum to add the 9.2 will be the Marigold Library. What is called Marigold Library System. Oh. System. Right. Okay, with the amendments, Heather?
I'll adopt that consent agenda with amendments.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So I do want to add an item if we can,
Yep.
but that I think is in the next one. Because
Yeah,
it's not part
it'll
of
be
the
on
consent,
next.
right?
Exactly. All right, so we've got consent agenda right here. All in favor?
The reports are great.
Yeah,
Pictures were awesome.
Yeah.
Jonathan, we've got the 9.1, the CAO report moved over.
so I'm not sure if it goes as a policy review or if it's an action item, but I was a little bit concerned that we're standing up the council remuneration committee at this time. Because the policy itself says every 3 years, we reviewed it, we accepted it in May of 2023, reviewed it in December 2023. And I, for one, and regardless of whether or not it's an election year, it's just, I don't think that it's wise for us to be reviewing that so quickly. I would prefer that the next council discuss that and then it gets stood up in 2026. That would be my preference. So I'd like the council to see if we can add that as an emergency item.
So that's 9.3 if we want it, or do we want it at the cow?
Yeah, because that's in the terms of reference.
It's in the terms of reference for the review committee that they be stood up in an election year to create the budget.
Yeah,
For
I couldn't find
2026
That was in the
in this
terms of reference, eh?
Yeah,
We talked-
policy
So
gets
that
reviewed.
wasn't the new council's directive
Yeah.
to do it, but I think it's fine where it
We
is.
just skip it this election.
Yeah.
Because it's so close to 2023, I mean, that's what, 13 months ago we were reviewing it, so that's, I just wanted to bring it forward to council's attention.
I'd be fine to
Is
wait.
that it?
You wanna do cow or no?
We can
That
do it
means we
cow,
need to do an amendment to
or we
the
could do it and have a chat about it tonight if we want to move to the cow for further discussion.
You're breaking your own bylaw.
So what
Yeah,
we'll do,
so we would need to amend our own bylaw, right?
we would.
so again, just for clarity, would you like to chat about it tonight? We've got a fairly light agenda, so we could have a chat about it. And then if we want, we can move to the cow in February.
Well, I don't know that it needs to
For-
move
for
to a
the-
cow, but I think we should discuss it now, hear from administration about what the pros and cons are, what the processes are, and then move forward as soon as
Are you
possible.
guys comfortable with that information for tonight? If we ask some questions, Brandon?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's go with that. So 9.3 action item.
Yeah.
We'll put down, council, wow,
Remuneration policy discussion,
yeah, let's put it in 9.3.
technically it might be 8.4 as a bylaw, right?
Well, not the discussion.
Not a discussion piece,
It's the bylaw not in front of us.
okay.
So conversation. Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Can I get a motion to that effect for
Yeah, that's
the,
the agenda as presented, or as amended.
thanks, sir. All in favor? Yep. Excellent. Can I get a motion to go into closed?
I'll do that.
Brendan gives us that, section 27-1, 24-1 D, and 25-1 C. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And time is 5:06, and we are in closed. February 15th, first meeting of 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for coming. We started this evening's meeting at 5:06. We went into camera under sections 27, 24, and 25 of the FOIP Act. And we came out at 5:51. No motions coming out. So we are off to our regular agenda, which we have a few additions. So under 9 action items, we brought over from the consent agenda the CAO report, which is under 9.1 for some discussion. And 9.2, we have Marigold Systems alternate representative systems board. So that's an addition as well. And 9.3, the council remuneration policy. And that's just for a small discussion as it is January and it's an election year. And there's a committee which could or could not be stood up. And so we want some clarity on the finer points of that bylaw policy. And tonight is just to touch base on that, as we've got lots of time. That being said, we're ready to roll. So question period, right off the get-go, 5.1. Question period is a 15-minute section of the council meeting for the public to ask questions of council or administration, points of clarity, anything you want. You can email, text, phone, take that little sheet in that little black folder, you fill that out, you give it to administration, and they'll put it into our folder. If there's anything on the agenda, you can't ask questions and expect an answer because it'll be addressed in the agenda. So if you were to ask about the credit card borrowing bylaw, for example, at question period, we wouldn't be able to talk about it until that time. So have we received any emails, phone calls, texts?
I would not, your worship.
All right, excellent. Council, you guys have anything over the holidays that came from the residents that you want to bring up?
I like the fireworks.
They love fireworks.
That was-
Yep,
It's quiet over the bridge.
that's good. All right, then we are going to move on in the agenda. So 6.1 bylaw 2024-52 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06. Mr. Davy, would you like to introduce this, please?
Hey, your worship, I'll turn it over to planning.
Here.
Terry, you have a preamble for public hearing.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm getting there. 109. Wait a second. Just 2 seconds.
There you go.
Post it. There we are. Okay, here's my for and against. You're gonna be sitting there anyway, so.
Just at ease.
All right, here we go. Exactly. All right, here is the public hearing for bylaw 2024-52 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06. This public hearing is held pursuant to section 216.4 of the Municipal Government Act to hear the representations from the public on the proposed bylaw. I, Barry Crane, will be chairing this public hearing for bylaw 2024-52 to amend bylaw 2021-06 and call it open at 6:04. I really need to get glasses. All right, I'm Barry Crane, Mayor Barry Crane, chairperson for today's hearing. Will council please introduce themselves from Councillor Gordon, continuing down the table and through administration right to the end with Douglas.
Councillor Jonathan Gordon.
Counselor Cindy Holiday.
Councilor Brendan Kelly, good evening.
Mayor Barry Crane.
Deputy Mayor Hazel Martin. Counselor Heather Thompson.
CAO Adam Davy.
Legislative Services Manager Verna Staples.
Planning and Development Manager, Carrie Florzon.
Director of Public Safety, TJ Moore.
Deputy Fire Chief Troy DeGoey.
Denise,
And Denise Stewart, Planning and Development Officer.
thank you. All discussions by council members, administration, and speakers shall be directed through myself as the presiding officer during this hearing. We ask that you respect the views of everyone here and allow each person their time to speak without interruption. Each person wishing to speak will be given up to 5 minutes to make a presentation to council. I ask that you indicate if you are speaking on your own behalf, on behalf of another person or group of persons, or an organization. When you are finished speaking, please remain at the front, as council may have some questions for you. This hearing will be carried out in an orderly fashion in accordance with normal parliamentary procedures. Mr. Davy, can you please confirm whether this public hearing has been advertised and notice given in accordance with the requirements of the Municipal Government Act, please?
Confirmed.
Thank you. Ms. Florzone and Ms. Stewart, can you please present your staff report and explain the purpose of the proposed amendments? And Denise, obviously you're here, so if you want to just hit your red light and you can just speak at ease.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Today, the application is for redesignation of a parcel of land within our mature neighborhood. The redesignation is proposed to go from the R1 district to R1N, single narrow detached district, to allow for future subdivision and residential development. Within this isn't a mature neighborhood. Every parcel in this area is exactly 946 square meters. The buildings are, range in from 1970 to 1980, and there is some newer development since like about 2014 or so, some spot redevelopment. The applicant has expressed an interest in densifying the property, and several options that have been provided in the report. The choosing of the applicant is to go to the R1M district, as it will be providing a housing option that is not currently available within community. And because they are smaller property sizes and smaller residential developments, they can offer this housing at a lower price point. In November, it was November last time I was here on this, I presented in the staff report, I presented how the application complied with our statutory regulations, being the municipal development plan and the land use bylaw, as well as the housing needs assessment report. This redevelopment, of course, will also be subjected to the offsite levies under bylaw 2211. The file has been circulated to stakeholders in November 31st of 2024, and the responses have been provided in the report. Due to the Canada Postal strike, the adjacent property owners received hand-delivered notices, and if I wasn't able to speak with them, I taped it on their door. In advance of the publication of this report, we received 2 letters of objection from adjacent property owners. Subsequent to that, we received 3 additional letters of objection, which will be read into the report this evening, and 7 letters of support, again, which will be read in this evening. Just summarizing, the proposal for infill housing is as per the policy of the municipal development plan for mature neighborhoods. It is infill housing is an existing use of our infrastructure. It's a positive use of our existing infrastructure. It utilizes our existing roadways, water, sewer, and power services. So there's minimum need for costly extensions or upgrades to our linear infrastructure. It aligns with the municipality's goals for fiscal responsibility. It is also, there's enhanced opportunities because this is a corner lot. There's positive opportunities because it makes it easier to provide the on-site parking, which in their proposed development, they would be able to meet that requirement. It also supports smart growth principles by optimizing the land within our existing urban fabric, contributing to vibrant and walkable communities. The merits and drawbacks have been provided for you in this, in the report. We also have had, like I said, those additional letters that can be read into the report. And that might be a time for me to also provide staff's responses to the letters of support and objection. I can do that at this time, or I can do that when the hearing comes up. Sorry, after the hearing is closed and when the bylaw is presented for second and third reading. Chief Fox.
We'll follow process. We'll read the opposed and the in favor, and then if we have questions, we can flag them at that time.
I'd be happy to do so.
If council's okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay, any questions for Ms. Stewart at this time? John, Councilor Gordon?
Yeah, I do have one, and I don't know if this is the right time to ask it, but we talked about the surrounding development in the last sentence of that paragraph. It talks about the parcel size being deceiving due to the 7.2 meters between the north property line and the curb. Is that utility right of way? Or how does that work as far as where the potential front of the building goes? Is that an allowance there, or does it have to go further setback?
Okay, so the proposal, the property line is set back 7.2 meters from curb.
Wow.
Yes, so it's really gonna be deceiving because their development then, the minimum development is 4.5 meters from the property line. And then, of course, if they're putting front yard parking, it has to be 6.1 meters from the front property line. So I just wanted to point that out because it is an unusually large boulevard. There isn't any utilities underneath it. There's no utility right of way registered in that. It's just a really great boulevard.
Cool.
Nice. There's an existing sidewalk.
Right, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further comments? So, my only one, so with the boulevard that big, driveways potentially needed.
Yes, so when because it's on a corner lot, which makes it really great for development because driveway access can come off of First Street for the corner lot, correct? And then the center two would have front driveways, and I know I'm getting in, this is not a redesignation issue, but and then the furthest one to the west then could have rear access from the lane. So really you'd have 4 vehicles or 4 car parking spaces that would face onto Fifth Avenue.
So there is space, that's all I want.
Yes, yeah, there's significant space for the proposal.
Okay, excellent. All right. Any further comments, questions for Denise? We're allowed to ask
Oh, okay.
any points
Then
now,
I would-
and we'll have several more opportunities to ask more questions,
I'm good.
As we know.
as we know. Okay, all right, so let's carry on then. Council may ask questions of staff, obviously. At this time, I would ask the applicant if they are present, if they wish to speak and make a presentation, you have a maximum of 20 minutes if you wish.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent.
I'm Peter Sutherland, the applicant for this project. These points out a lot of great facts about this already. I've talked to quite a few locals, great support. I haven't talked to anybody that's been negative about it so far. I went to 5 people within a 1 block radius and they were all in support of it. And I think all of them gave me a letter of support. They're gonna be really good looking cottage style homes. I brought some renderings in case anyone wants to see what they're gonna look like. These are just ideas, but this is what we're looking at. We're looking at 650 to 750 square feet cottage style homes for first time buyers or for seniors downsizing. And speaking of letters of support, we also have 2 people that are already interested in purchasing, which is pretty premature, but these things will be priced at market value, of course, but they're going to be very economical for, stick frame homes with new home warranty. Of course, we have our builder's license. It's being done in other towns with great reviews. It's needed everywhere. Not everyone can afford a castle. I always talk about our new generation. When was the last time anybody went to work and saved up $100,000 for a down payment? Like, I just don't know what the next generation is going to do, how they're going to get their toe in the door of all this housing pricing. And seniors, a lot of seniors, when they downsize, they have to leave the area because there's just nothing available locally. And that's the last thing they want to do is leave their families or their support. So I think this is, needed, and I've been getting a great response from everyone I talk to. Obviously, there's a few people disgruntled about it, but as far as the town is concerned, it's going to be utilizing infrastructure that's already in place. I mean, right now you're getting basically nothing from that land for taxes, and we put several homes there. It's going to be great for the town, and everyone knows we need to start putting money aside to infrastructure and whatnot. So, there were some comments I heard about what these things are going to look like. Well, that's why I brought the rendering, if I can make that public or whatever. And if there's any concerns, we can definitely deal with them, right? If there's a certain idea somebody has or something that the town wants to see, anything's for discussion. That's all I've got to say, I think. I really look forward to another good project. I've been here for 27 years. I have 5 different businesses, investing in both towns, and it's been great. And this is going to be the next great one. So look forward to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Council. Yes, you may.
Can I see one of those? Presentation.
Just one.
Thanks, Peter.
I would send one back to the public to hand around as well. Sure. You've got just enough. Just because it's fair, so everyone sees what we're seeing. Okay, council, any questions for Mr. Sutherland? Heather?
I drove by Peter and looked at the lot, and now I feel a little bit more comfortable about it when Denise explained that it's deceiving. I've been hearing also from many community members that we need to, provide some diverse housing. And I am happy to hear that these are about the 750 square foot range. It's not just first time home buyers, it's people that are maybe have become single parents. And also folks need somewhere to go that doesn't cost them $550,000, which is a real bonus. I'm in that age group, but I'm not ready to move yet. At first, I wasn't really in favor of it. Seeing the renderings helped, and hearing Denise's information, that sounds good. These will be like bungalow style.
They will be. We're going to build them low to the ground, and we're going to have decks off the front of them, and 2 parking spaces, and fenced yards, and gonna try and make them really cute, good looking units. And I also want to take this to other towns. Once I've done it here, there are other towns that are in favor of this, so I want this one to be my showpiece. So I'm really excited about it.
Thank you.
Hazel?
I mean, for me, is that I too like this design. Even here on Windsor Avenue, we have quite a bit of infill housing. We have 4-unit senior housing. We have an apartment building, 4-unit rental building. We also have duplexes. They seem to mesh with the older community. And by seeing this and keeping them low, I think it'll also mesh with that area of town. I grew up in that area. So those houses back there were built in the 50s and 60s. So it's good to see new come in. Again, like with what Heather is saying, there are seniors that are looking to downsize. They want to put a little bit of cash in their pocket. We also have individuals that are trying to get into the real estate market.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a win-win.
That lot specifically, really fits this design, and the way that lot's situated in town. It's not gonna offend anybody. It's gonna be really good looking. We've got access to 3 sides, and it's just a great lot for this project.
Would they be able to have a garage? Like it'll be 60% coverage, is that correct?
I'm not,
Per lot.
yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna do garages or not. I mean, I'm trying to keep the price down, and garages aren't cheap anymore, they quickly go up to, $50,000 to $70,000 depending what you do, so.
Maybe not for you, but maybe the resident that buys it.
Yes, it's possible they could do it themselves or add it on later. I'd like to offer it without, just to keep the price point down, right? Because it appeals to a lot more people if it's $70,000 cheaper.
All right, thank you. Questions for points of clarity? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I would ask Mr. Davey, has the town received any written submissions not included in the staff report? So I have 7, I believe it is, right here. If so, I would ask that they be read aloud and entered into the record. So that's any that I have not got in my hand. Have we received any others?
Thanks, your worship. I just want to clarify with planning. So did you say we have another 5 in favor? I was tracking 2.
So there's,
It's 7.
7 there now?
7 in favor.
so there's, if I may, there's 2 objections that were included in the staff report.
I have those.
Yeah, and then there was 3 letters of objection that are provided today, or 3 additional letters, and 5 additional letters of support, which have been provided.
So I will be reading the letters opposed, and Councillor Kelly will be reading the in favor. So at this point of the hearing, I will read these into the record, and then we'll move on to the speakers portion. So give us a little bit of time as we read these through. All right. Dear Denise and Vernon, regarding application said. I, Pamela L. O'Brien and Curtis N. O'Brien, homeowners at blank 2nd Street Southwest, Diamond Valley, respectfully object to this application and strongly recommend that the existing land use remain as R1, single detached residential district. Our area of Diamond Valley, historically referred to as Black Diamond, is well known for its unique character of spacious lots with almost exclusive single-family homes, low traffic, and plenty of space to breathe. We still have the true small town feel because we are not crammed together like the city lots. Allowing the subject lot to be divided into 4 tiny lots will negatively impact our property values significantly. We have spent years encompassing considerable personal time, effort, and funds maintaining our property and protecting our investments' equity. The extreme subdivision being proposed will diminish that for us and many of our neighbors. Even more concerning, it will set a precedent for similar properties to be subdivided into the future. For example, the lot across the avenue from us at 502 2nd Street, Diamond Valley, legal address 4061 EC 12-1NE 822-5, which is why we have such a vested interest in ensuring this bylaw is not approved. The following is a direct quote from the staff report for the town dated December 31, 2024, which proves our concerns are valid and that the town is encouraging more development like this. Quotations surrounding development. All surrounding parcels are part of the single detached family district R1. This mature neighborhood has modest sized lots of 946 meters squared with the same redevelopment potential as the subject parcel. Another consideration is water and sewer. Since 2013, water pressure in our area has been reduced to 60 psi. We were told the full pressure would burst pipes in the low-lying areas around the campground and country food mart. That would be added strain from this development, what will the added strain of this development do to our already outdated infrastructure? We appreciate the town's forward-thinking mandate, but congestion and increased density is not the only nor best answer. There are already massive areas earmarked for new development here. We don't need to destroy what we have so carefully cultivated as a charming, nostalgic neighborhood by turning it into a cookie-cutter city property. Rezone a swath of land for multifamily homes and cost-effective options in a brand new area. Build high-density communities like Okotoks and Calgary have. Now is the time for the town to manage this, and the town does have the power to do so. We have watched buyers and builders in blocks around us purchase a lot, clear it, and build a new single-family home that complements the area and increase property values. They keep our investments safe and build value, not the opposite. Another legitimate concern is the quality of proposed builds. Can and would that be scrutinized, properly monitored, and inspected? It takes a special contractor with reputable trades who are all reliable and assured, proper license, skilled, experienced, and pride to build a quality product. The Municipal Development Plan, MDP, I believe that's under development, explicit calls for the balance of growth of new developments without compromising the quality of life or character of existing neighborhoods. The approval of this rezoning would undermine that vision. Each household requires an average of 100 gallons per person per day, with an 89% return of gray and black water into the system. This significant burden on the already strained infrastructure should not be underestimated. The town of Diamond Valley's water treatment plant and sewage lagoons are already nearing capacity, according to the Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation. Existing infrastructure may not sustain additional developments without costly upgrades, which would likely be passed on to the taxpayers. This rezoning application does not account for the financial and environmental impact of increased water and sewage usage. We should request a moratorium on any new rezoning applications until an independent study is conducted to assess the capacity of the town's water, sewer, and road infrastructure to handle increased density, and the municipal development plan has been completed. We truly hope you will make the right decision and not allow this amendment. Sincerely, Pam and Curtis O'Brien. Right. Here we go, another one. This is a copy and paste of what I just read for one section, just signed separately. I'm going to read it.
Not a good copy and paste, I think it was.
Yeah, it literally quotations surrounding development, and then it's the exact same word for word, right down to another legitimate. I'm going to read it. Even more concerning. So basically, it's just a copy of that page. Even more concerning, it will be set precedent for similar properties to be subdivided into the future. For example, 502 2nd Street, Southwest, Diamond Valley, legal address 4061 EC 121 and E8 225, which is why we have such a vested interest in ensuring this bylaw is not approved. The following is a direct quote from the town staff report dated December 31, 2024, which proves our concerns are valid and that the town is encouraging more development like this surrounding area. All surrounding parcels are part of the single detached residential district R1. This mature neighborhood has modest-sized lots of 946 square meters with the same redevelopment potential as the subject parcel. Another consideration is water and sewer usage. Since 2013, water pressure in the area has been reduced to 60 psi. We were told full water pressure would burst pipes in the low-lying areas around the campground and country food mart. What will the added strain on this development do to our already outdated infrastructure? We appreciate the town's forward-thinking mandate, but congestion and increased density is not or nor the best answer. There are already massive areas earmarked for new development here. We don't need to destroy what we have so carefully cultivated as charming and nostalgic neighborhood by turning it into a cookie-cutter city property. Rezone a swath of new land for multifamily homes and cost-effective options in the brand new area. Build high-density communities like Okotoks and Calgary have. Now is the time for the town to manage this, and the town does have the power to do so. We have watched buyers and builders and blocks around us purchase a lot, clear, build a new single-family home that complements the area, increases the property values. They keep our investments safe and build value, not the opposite. Another legitimate concern is the quality of the proposed builds, can and would that be scrutinized, properly monitored and inspected. It takes a special contractor with reputable trades who all have liability insurance, proper licenses, skills, experience, and pride to build a quality product. We truly hope you'll make the right decision and not allow this amendment. Sincerely, Darren and Lisa McKelvey. To Diamond Valley Council members, our family is writing this letter in response to the proposed redistricting of Lot 20, Block 27, Plan 1106EH, located in Black Diamond on the corner of First Street and Fifth Ave Southwest, from a single detached residence to 3 single detached narrow lots. We purchased our home in this area with the understanding that rezoning remains consistent based on long-range planning by the town. The current zoning for single detached residents in this area was a key factor in us deciding to purchase our home. If rezoning is changed, precedent could be set to allow other rezoning applications that are not consistent with the current structures found within the area, which is composed almost entirely of single detached residents that have existed for many years. Those who have purchased home based on the current configuration will be subject to the decline of the community building standards in which they made their original purchase. We feel this current plan is short-sighted, inconsistent with the current standard, and will devalue the community, our community. The desire is to create and build high-density lots. Then planning and zoning should occur in new development areas where structural planning is consistent. Established community zoning should remain consistent to protect the integrity of the community. If the developer purchased the lot with the intention of building high-density structures, the residents of the community and the town council should not have their community and values compromised through short-sighted profits. The addition of high-density residential buildings to an established single detached residential community will impact utilities, green spaces, and privacy of people living near those proposed structures. If each lot adds 2 additional vehicles, there will be increased demand for parking and traffic, impacting student crossings First Street on their way to school. If precedent is set, this area could change significantly over the years with random lot purchases. This comes with the cost to everyone within the community. Thank you for your consideration to maintain the current zoning in this area. We do not wish to see random lots rezoned, changing the footprint of our community. If we want different, we would have chosen different. Sincerely, Chet and Barb Musgrove. And we have Mike Camp. Dear Denise, application for redesignation 137-2024RD and 138-2024 sub redesignation subdivision into 3 single detached narrow lots R1N and 1 narrow lot R1N. Applicants Peter Sutherland, Shelby Sutherland, lot 20, block 27, plan 1106EH601, First Street Southwest, roll number 2700. I, Mike Camp, owner at blank 2nd Street Southwest, Diamond Valley, object to this application and recommend that the existing land use remain as R1 single detached residential district. Please feel free to contact me should you have any additional comments or questions regarding this above stated objection. Sincerely, Mike Camp. And Kimberly Smith says identically to what I just read. Dear niece, application designation 1372024RD 138-2024 subdivision 3 single detached narrow lots R1N and 1 narrow lot R1N. Applicants Peter Sutherland and Shelley Sutherland, lot 20, block 27, plan 1106EH601 First Street Southwest, roll number 2700. I, Kimberly Smith, homeowner at blank 2nd Street Southwest, Diamond Valley, object to this application and recommend that the existing land use remain as R1 single detached residential district. Please feel free to contact me should you have any additional questions regarding my above stated objection. Sincerely, Kimberly Smith. That is all I have in writing, and I've confirmed and I will reconfirm. Have you received any other objections in writing?
Good night, your worship.
All right, we'll now read the in favor. Councillor Kelly,
I think that was roll number 27,000.
27,000.
Yeah, just over.
Was there a white issue there, maybe?
There's an extra 0 there, just so you know. Thanks, Mayor Crane, for going through all those. I'm gonna start with the smaller ones. just so I don't lose our audience here. Okay, attention town of Diamond Valley and Diamond Valley Council. This comes from Tyler Smith at First Street, Southwest Diamond Valley. Good day, I, Tyler Smith of said location, live 2 doors down from the proposed redesignation of lot 601 First Street and fully support this project. I've lived in these towns for most of my life. I'm a local business owner along with a landlord. Having rental property, I know all about the housing shortage firsthand and think that this is a great solution and hope to see more projects like this in the future. Tyler, the shop in Turner Valley. To whom it may concern, my name is Dale McCabe, and though I haven't lived in Diamond Valley towns, I've spent many years in the area visiting, spending time with friends and family, and lately working locally, running a local campground. I've been wanting to purchase a home in the area for years now, but haven't been able to for a couple of reasons. Homes are too big for a single older man, or the housing prices are out of my range. When I heard about the proposed development, I got excited. I may be able to own a home in the community and I have been wanting to live in for many years. I, Dale, fully support this development and look forward to future developments the town may have to offer. Dale. To council, hope you're well. My holidays were lovely and relaxing. I am looking forward to my big move out there this summer. Noel said he spoke with you about small homes you're planning to build in Black Diamond, or do we call it Diamond Valley now? I am very interested in one. I can stay with Noel for a little while, but we would all love for me to have my own space, and the size of these homes sound perfect for an old lady like myself. Is there any way I can be involved in designing and finishing the home? I have a couple of wonderful ideas and I would like to add if possible. Either way, please keep me in mind and in the loop so I can get my ducks in a row and buy myself a home. Have a great day and we'll be seeing you soon. So matchmaker potentially. First one was Dale, who's gonna be Ann's neighbor potentially, if this passes tonight. But on a positive spin, I guess here, that was Ann, yes, that Ann, sorry, yeah, it's just first name. Okay, so we've got a letter here from Jim Bryant, 2nd Street Southwest, addressed to the town of Diamond Valley. To whom it may concern, I am in agreement of the development proposed by Peter Sutherland at the described site, 601-1 Street Southwest, Diamond Valley, Alberta. I agree with the developer, Peter Sutherland, that it would be in the best interest of all involved to accept this proposal. The project will be an asset to the town and the community alike, in that it will provide cheaper housing for lower income earners and retired pensioners on fixed incomes. It would also be a good location for accessibility to most amenities, all within walking distance. I think this proposal would be a step forward in providing affordable housing in our community. Regards, Jim Bryant. Okay, this one is from Jeff Burgess. Hello, this is a letter. This letter is in support of Peter Sutherland to develop affordable housing on the vacant lot at the corner of 5th Avenue and 1st in Black Diamond, Alberta, now known as Diamond Valley. I have been a resident since 2013, and I believe the lot became vacant long after that. Not long after that. I think it's a great idea to utilize our large lots for some affordable housing for the elderly and many struggling families trying to live in the inflated country. Thank you, Jeff Burgess. Okay, save the big one for last. As the applicant for the land use redesignation of 601 First Street Southwest, we would like to address this application. We are requesting that the land use for this property be changed from R1 to R1N, single detached narrow lots. The redesignation of this parcel would allow for subdivision into 4 narrow lots in accordance with bylaw 2024-43. The town of Black Diamond's current municipal development plan lists an existing and general residential policies under infill/redevelopment in section 7.3B, where possible, vacant lands in the existing town should be developed and old or dilapidated buildings redeveloped as permitted under the town's land use bylaw. This would maximize the use of existing utility and transportation systems. It also includes an objective in section 7.2B to maintain the general character and stability of established residential areas while allowing for a limited number of higher density infill residential development and redevelopment in selected appropriate locations. The redesignation of this property would contribute to diversification of the current housing market in Diamond Valley by utilizing higher density infill development. At this time, there are no shovel-ready developments in new areas to address immediate housing needs. This development could contribute to meeting these housing needs. The Black Diamond Housing Needs Assessment Final Report from 2022 states that approximately a quarter of households would struggle to buy today, and more variety in housing types, tenure, and sizes needed. Redesignation of this property would add variety in housing while still meeting the character of the neighborhood. Currently, this neighborhood has houses that are not complementary, as there are new large homes mixed in with older smaller homes. This development would contribute to the revitalization of this neighborhood and add value to bordering properties, as this lot is currently unkept with an old garage. By adding homes that are on smaller lots and at a lower price point than other new homes, it allows new homeowners to not only be able to purchase homes, but build equity. Smaller homes also offer the option for senior homeowners to downsize, which opens up larger homes in the community for families. The size of the lot allows for 4 narrow lots that meet the requirements as established by council and utilities existing infrastructure. The current assessed value of this lot is $195,700. If redesignation is approved and 4 narrow lots were built homes that meet or exceed code are added to each lot, the total assessed value could be approximately 1.2 million. Using the 2024 tax rate municipal only, this would increase of approximately 6,000 in tax revenue annually. By having narrow lots at this parcel, the tax revenue for the town is increased more than a single house on a large lot would provide. When looking at surrounding new homes on the same size lot in this neighborhood, they are assessed at around $600,000 to $700,000. A house assessed at the higher end of this range brings in approximately $4,200 in municipal tax revenue, which is still less than the 4 proposed properties would provide. The redesignation of this property and the requested subdivision into 4 lots would have additional homes that are using existing infrastructure. Every property with the town utility account contributes to the infrastructure by paying fixed utility rates. This property would have 4 homes paying those fixed fees for the use of the same linear infrastructure as 1 home on the lot of the same size, paying the same fixed fees. The infrastructure is already in place and ready to be connected to the operations, and operations has been consulted and with no immediate concerns. To address some of the concerns that were expressed by residents, the applicants would like to say the following. This lot is not a green space but a private property, so its development does not impact current green space in the neighborhood. Privacy concerns regarding houses being close together are up to the people that would buy the homes to be comfortable with, not neighbors who are not directly next door. There is a continuous sidewalk for students walking to school, so traffic safety for pedestrians would not be a concern, as many students walk to school from Maplewood and cross a highway. Home quality would meet or exceed all building codes and would have to follow permitting procedures. Each lot will have 2 parking spaces to accommodate the property owner's vehicles. These homes will add value to the community by improving this lot and contributing to the tax base and utility costs. Finally, the town's water and sewer treatment facilities are not nearing capacity, and both West End Regional Sewage Services Commission and Sheep River Regional Utility Corporation have been consulted and have no concerns. In conclusion, the redesignation of 601 First 1 Street Southwest aligns with the current town of Diamond Valley, with the current town of Black Diamond municipal development plan, land use bylaw, and the housing needs assessment. The lot sizes are in accordance with the approved R1N district guidelines in an area that would be appropriate for this type of development. It would increase the town's residential assessed value and contribute to diverse housing which is needed. Peter Sutherland. That's all I have, Mayor Crane.
All right, thank you for saving my eyeballs, because I really need that.
All the letters are good.
I think we need another one.
Should be said.
Good answer.
We'll take it.
In favor of?
More.
Okay, finally, Karen Walker, First Street Southwest, Diamond Valley. Attention to Diamond Valley Council, Denise Stewart and Peter Sutherland. And this is in regards to the application of redesignation for 601 First. I think it's 601 1 Street, Diamond Valley. I, Karen Walker, a longtime resident of Diamond Valley, strongly support this application for redesignation of this lot. As a direct neighbor to this project, I don't feel threatened by it. I see the additional housing advantageous to our housing shortage along with infrastructure tax base. Yours truly, Karen Walker. Thanks, Gary, for that.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Mr. Davy, at this time I would ask if anyone has registered to sign in to speak to the bylaw.
They have not, your worship.
Thank you. To the audience, at this time I would ask if there was anyone present. If you wish to speak or you have not yet spoken, would you like to speak to the bylaw? You can come forward, sit here in what we like to call the hot seat, push the little button and the red tab will come on like that. And you can speak for or against. We just ask that you say your name, your address, and you can comment. If you've already, so I'm looking at Chet, if you've already written in and you want to address something new, by all means, the seat is there. So I'll call 3 times, asking for submissions to speak. Going once, if there's anyone wishing to speak to the proposed bylaw amendments, now is the time to do so. Have a seat, push the button, for or against, name and address, and say your piece. Last call. If there is anyone present who wishes to speak and has not yet spoken to it, if you wish to speak against the amendment or for the amendment to the proposed bylaw change, have a seat.
I would like to speak.
Sure. I knew I'd get one if I go fishing long enough. There you go. Yeah, just push the button, name, address, and for or against, and go ahead.
My name is Kimberly Smith, and against, I live on 602 Second Street Southwest. And I mean, you know, I envisioned when I first heard about this plan, I thought, wouldn't it be cute if that was little cottage-like places for seniors or some nice, you know, nice little family or whatever. But, you know, this zoning opens up a whole can of worms throughout the whole area. And it may not necessarily just be senior rentals or single family, you know what I mean? It could be opened up to different rental properties. It's gonna be a small area. I live right beside there. I mean, little cottage type places, they're not gonna have any yards. I mean, how does this affect the community? Like, the houses will be close together, there's fire concerns. Do they get to have fire pits? Are we reducing the garbage pickup in this town to bi-weekly? I mean, the smell, like bins, I mean, there's a lot that goes into a property, right? So I guess I just kind of look at it from a really big picture point of view. When I had spoken to somebody, I believe it was you, Denise, my understanding that 2 of the homes, the driveways would be in the alleyway, and that's just a single alleyway. So I mean, that kind of changes things, and people are backing in and out of a single alley. But, you know, and I also, I guess I would make my other point, is this really gonna be affordable to people? What sort of people will be able to afford this, to be honest, right? Because when you think about the taxes, the utilities, all of that stuff, you know, is it really affordable? Or is it gonna be a place where there's just random renters and, you know, nothing against renters, but You know, is it just gonna be kind of one of those short-term, you know, fly-by-night rental places? That's it for me.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. At this time, I'm going to ask if there's anyone present who has not yet spoken, who would like to speak to the proposed bylaw change, to come forward, state your name. Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Chad Mus, I don't know if I just walked.
You're good.
Okay. Chad Musgrove, Black Diamond. I live on Person 418. My biggest thing is just, we bought in the area. I like the idea of the single attached. That's kind of where we wanted. I just don't want that to have that precedence. There's another lot that's just down the street from us that was also purchased too. What's that gonna set up? There's another one just behind us. There's another infill going in. There's another one just an infill built. So if we start popping up all these, I'm okay with designated areas, but I just don't want to have random spaces all set up throughout there. We purchased in the area. There's older houses, there's newer houses, but everybody keeps up their spaces. And I get that people want to try and, you know, do work with it, or we want to try and have the affordable housing. But there are designated areas. There's the hospital up there. There's a bunch of lots up there that are currently, I think, for sale or will come up for sale, that are in that residential area that kind of fit that kind of style of housing up there. So there is spaces to do that. Is that something we look at in the future for developing other areas? But I mean, that was our whole purpose for buying there, and that's kind of why we bought there. If we wanted something else, we would have went somewhere else, right? So that's it.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that. Thank you. At this time, I would ask again if there is anyone present who has not yet spoken or wishes to speak to the proposed bylaw amendments, please come forward, state your name for the record. I'm going to go one more time just to finish it off. At this time, last call, I would ask if you are present and you wish to speak to or for the proposed bylaw change, please come forward, state your name, and add it to the record. Seeing none, we will move on. That was the last call. Mr. Davy, can you confirm that all speakers have been heard and have been given the opportunity to do so?
Confirm, your worship.
Thank you. And this is the funniest part. Does any person who has yet previously not spoken wish to address any new information provided at the hearing? Council may ask you questions. So last call yet again. One more time, if anyone is present and they wish to be heard, you can now do so. State your name for the record. Seeing none. Council, are you satisfied that you have obtained sufficient information from this public hearing? Heather?
Just from
Yes.
others that we heard. Is there an opportunity through the mayor to see it if possible? Is there an opportunity to have Terry respond to the water sewer concern? I sit on Truck and West End. I could actually speak to that if that's okay. Or is
I actually had a question around whether in a meeting do you point out that some of the information in some of these letters are false?
Yeah, I'll turn it over to.
Terry, could you maybe comment on that?
Of course, fantastic. So, appreciate the question, appreciate the desire to ensure that the process goes how the process is supposed to go. It is within the ability of the public hearing process to address the concerns or questions raised in the submissions or in the presentations, because there's that section that you said there. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to speak to of anything that's come up since? And part of that could potentially be additional information received from administration during the hearing. And so it would potentially offer a more transparent process that then if somebody was under a misunderstanding, that then they could, I don't have a rebuttal, but the potential for follow-up there.
Yeah, well, my next line, does administration have any closing remarks, right? Or responses to questions or concerns brought forward during the hearing, which is, I'm gonna allow you. Yeah, so why don't you do yours? And then Carrie can follow up on your comments as well as address.
So the water sewer concern and how it's been looked at and resolved. And then a question, the setback between the houses, is that any different than regular R1? For fire concerns, it's the same, right?
Yeah,
That was my.
so it can be heard from the people potentially watching. The requirements are set out in the district. They were based off of our current R1 zoning, and the requirements for building and fire would be in conformance with our safety codes for the province.
Thank you.
Do you want the water and sewer question addressed?
I'll go to Councilor Gordon here.
If I may, along the same lines of the R1N, because one of the letters made a comment about a high-density residential building. I think it's worth clarifying that R1N is still single-family dwelling, so it's not high-density residential building, correct?
Yes, the intent of the R1N district is to establish a residential district that allows for narrow lot development. The district provides specific land use rules and architectural control adopted to recognize a specific housing need and allow the development of dwelling units on a narrow lot. The permitted uses in the district include accessory buildings, minor home occupations, single detached housing, and signs.
So other than a narrow lot, it's an R1.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hazel?
Sometimes you hear of property values, sometimes residents are really worried about that. Would their property values change?
I'm so happy that you brought that forward. So typically in planning, you'll hear me refer to material planning considerations. Material planning considerations are typically something that we look at more at the development permit stage. However, there are a lot of studies. I didn't have time to prepare additional reporting for council. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this meta study that I have pulled up here. I see Singapore, Stockholm, a couple places in the States. I know I read one time for Toronto, and what they found in the study of studies, in the meta study, is that there is no or negligible, i.e. a 0.5% impact on residential property values when other residential properties are built near them for infill. So that is doubling or more the local density. All the other studies have found either no impact at all or a uptick in the property values surrounding the project because, again, of that potential that you now have greater redevelopment potential in that area. If one person can do it, then presumably so should you. So when we look at that comment about property values, it's speculative. There's no facts often behind it. And what studies and literature review would show me and what my own personal experience would tell me is that property values actually increase.
She answered the question on the water sewer capacity.
Would you like to comment on the water sewer? I was just gonna say that I think there's just a small typo and each house requires an average of 100 gallons.
Yep.
It's 40 liters. That'd be 4.
A lot of water.
I mean, not a lot, yes. So 100 liters, I just did the math, equals what you would appropriately use. And over 2 months, like my family of 4 uses 23, right? So it's 100 liters, not 100 gallons per day. With an 89% return in gray and black water into the system, that's debatable. We actually don't have any matrix on that. So, but if there was any other follow-up to that, Heather?
Well, through the process, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, this went out to Shrek.
Mhm.
And it also went out West End.
Mhm.
And neither of the corporations had any issues with the development.
Correct.
That's correct.
And that's from an infrastructure point of view, just to clarify Councillor Thompson's comments. When we get applications like this, they go to all departments, two of them being Shrunk and West End. And that would be if there was a large parcel, can the existing infrastructure handle the volume of proposed water and sewer that would be going through that system due to the increase in infrastructure? And if the answer is yes, then there's no comments. If there were, as we have some in the future that might come forward that might require changes, then the developer would be on the hook to help with the sizing of the infrastructure upgrades downstream. So in this case, there was none. So that's what that's in reference to. All right. Any further concerns from council? Any comments from administration? Seeing none. Let me get to my last one. I would like to thank everyone who spoke and provided submissions for their comments. Council will take all comments into consideration when deciding on this matter further in the agenda. With that said, I declare the public hearing for bylaw 2024-52 closed at 7:01 p.m. Thank you. All right. Moving on. Bylaw, we're right to it. Bylaw 2024-52 to amend land use bylaw 2021-06. So now council will comment and make decision on this proposed bylaw for a second reading. Administration, anything to add before we start?
Just a clarification that we are looking for second and third tonight.
Saw it on the bottom there. All right, thank you. All right, council, we just had the public hearing. Any questions, concerns? Would someone like to put forward a motion to begin debate? Okay, Councillor Thompson gives us that council give bylaw 2024-52 second reading at this time. All right, comments? Yes, please, Cindy.
I know from the West End truck perspective, we're fine, but there were some comments about the water pressure, and I've never heard any of that before, but I'm not that familiar with lockdown. So is there?
Yep, so Denise actually approached our civic operations manager to respond to that question, so we be prepared for tonight. Our system has a pressure reducing valve on it that limits the pressure to 65 PSI within the system because of its age. The entire system with the goal that no house has less than 60 PSI at faucet. So it's not particular to this development. It's not specific to this street. It is all of historic Black Diamond. There are concerns about the age of the infrastructure and the reliability of the infrastructure, which is why that pressure reducing valve was put in place.
Follow up, go ahead.
So what is the effect of having more users on that infrastructure?
Yeah, so none. The system is pressurized. So it would just be more points taking water out of the system. The system pressure should be maintained. If the system pressure is not being maintained, it means we have big leaks.
I guess we're into debate now that
We are.
I totally know that in order to fix that pressure issue, we need money to replace those blocks of infrastructure, which means we need higher tax base, which means we need higher density, and I get that. But I do have to recognize the concern of the homeowners that people buy in an R1 neighborhood expecting it to be R1, right? They need to have predictability. We're right in the middle of an MDP process. You know, I think even Peter Sutherland's written response at the end there mentioned having selected appropriate locations for higher density. We're just in the process of picking those, and we haven't picked them yet. we're kind of doing, we're in that exercise now, talking to people. So this feels very random, so I get that when people are writing in an objection, that this is a one-off random thing, and that does open, if we do it here, you know, it makes sense that it should be allowed next door or down the block, right? And so for me, I recognize the need for this kind of housing and more options. But I agree with other homeowners that we need to select those places. And this would be the first, like I know there is some little townhouses and some other stuff in that area, but really it is majority R1. And that's what people bought expecting. So I'll send to Carrie.
Go ahead, Carrie.
You're the chair. Yes, the question about designated areas, we do have a current municipal development plan that is a statutory plan that council is beholden to. The objectives under 7.2 being residential, promote and provide the development of safe, attractive and functional neighborhoods that will meet the housing accommodation needs of a full range of socioeconomic groups, to maintain the general character and stability of established residential areas while allowing for a limited amount of higher density infill residential development and redevelopment in selected appropriate locations, to develop in a manner that will lead to a variety of land use patterns while enhancing the town of Black Diamond's positive small town atmosphere, to protect residential neighborhoods by providing adequate separations from adjacent incompatible land uses, to promote development of a community in which residents can live and work. Stay with me, I got 3 more. Future development, 7.3 sub A, future residential development should be in accordance with the future land use map. It just says it should be residential. Infill and redevelopment, where possible, vacant lands in the existing town should be developed and older dilapidated buildings redeveloped as permitted under the town's land use bylaw. This would maximize the use of existing utility and transportation systems. The design of infill housing will be sensitive to the character and scale of the surrounding area. So in regards to the designated areas and policy direction that council has given administration, we are supportive of this because we do believe that it meets the objectives as outlined in the municipal development plan.
Thank you. Councillor Kelly. Yeah, and while I generally agree with everything that you said, Councillor Holiday, and this, I just wanted to address the potential of this kind of opening up a can of worms that people have mentioned. Is the uniqueness about this when we look at the rendering here is that it needs a corner lot to be executed properly. I don't think that you'd be able to achieve the same outcome if you were inside the block necessarily, because you wouldn't have that street frontage or potentially the boulevard to work with. So while that can of worms could be opened, I think that you're going to need the developer, in this case Peter Sutherland, I think he's going to need a very specific type of lot. And in this case, we have a specific type of lot that's vacant. And it falls within everything that Carrie just mentioned. So I just want to bring that up.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, yeah, again.
Yeah, so it will put fear into the hearts of anybody that lives on the second house in of every corner lot in that area. Really, that's what we're saying, if it's because there's a lot of corner lots. So general character, as we talk about the MDP, like, yes, it needs to be redeveloped. It needs something on it. It shouldn't stay vacant. That doesn't make us any tax money. But if the whole area is R1, that is the general character of the area. So that's where I'm struggling. Like, yeah, I guess because we're in the MDP process, that's my biggest problem. We haven't had the general consensus of the community saying, this is where we want higher density to go. And R1, the R1N, when it came in, which hasn't been that long ago, I was very skeptical of it. And it's an experiment we actually haven't tried yet because we haven't seen it built yet. And so maybe it might get built and I'll be no longer a skeptic, or maybe we might find things that did or didn't work. But it's an experiment at this point because we haven't seen it built. And the reason that we were talked into it, I think as a council, was because there was very specific lots that couldn't be developed very well other ways. This one, as we see from the report, can be built into, townhouses, apartments, all sorts of different, other types. It's not limited by any real constraints. It's an open slate. That can be anything on it. So when you've got larger home, larger lots, larger homes is this really keeping in character? But then in density is not really my issue on it, because I would love to see because it's close to the school, something, for, bigger, like townhouses, but, we bought first. You have a 2-story townhouse, it's larger square footage, close to a school, it would be lovely. But I don't know, that's my thoughts. I'm having problems for the existing homeowners in this neighborhood where we haven't divided up any lots. Closer to the north, closer to center, we've done a lot of, and even just recently dividing some of these lots, but we haven't done it in this specific, radius.
Okay, go, Jonathan, you can't now. Sorry. Jonathan, then Brendan.
Yeah, I love subjectivity, not, general character, what does that mean? Is it relevant to what's written? So R1 is single detached on the width of the lot. General character, R1, bungalows, 2-story, 1,400 square feet. Such a subjective truth. So I have Google Maps on here with Street View looking at what I would consider a visual of the general character of the area. And on First Street, as you head south from that corner, on the far southeast corner, there's a triplex, very basic vinyl siding, front balcony, front yard non-existent, it's all gravel parking lot. As you work your way up, the character of the proposed 650 to 750 square foot homes is almost identical to what's already there, if not exactly identical. There's no garages, there's front drives that are gravel, all the way up. There's one new home that has a different, larger gravel driveway. So I would say that the homes that are being proposed in this application actually do fit the character. What is different is the size of the lot. And in my opinion, the size of the lot is minor when we're talking about the structure on that lot. And so when I look at that, they're tiny houses on very large lots. And so I don't believe that this application as presented and trusting the character in good faith of the builder who's working in town already, doing excellent builds, and with our planning team working together, I doubt that the quality would drop. And a couple of points to what Carrie has said, because we've heard it before around this table about property value is going to go down. I read those studies. It's actually it's a myth. Property values don't go down. Quite often when you have development, property values go up. Another thing that I want to kind of build a little bit on what Councillor Kelly has said. I've heard in the opposition letters about concern about precedent. The reason we have these zoning changes and ability to come to council is so we don't set a precedent. We look at them individually and what the applicant is suggesting on an individual basis. We don't want to go down to blanket rezoning. That's not a door I want to open, regardless of what our neighbor to the north and east has done. So I want to make sure that to the best of our ability to ease some of those concerns regarding what precedent would be like. We've talked about added strain on infrastructure. It shows that is there. One of the concerns as well was the quality of the proposed build. I'm pretty confident, and Peter, if I can say this, just take a look at the work that Peter's doing on the offices on Main Street in Turner Valley, the addition that he's added there, plus now he's totally refacing the front to be much more in line with an architectural control. I'm pretty confident Peter and his design team will do their due diligence to provide quality work. So clearly, when this comes to a vote, I want to thank every individual. I mean, 14 submissions, I think my math is correct, 12 submissions. That's quite dramatic for 4 lots. So I really appreciate the town coming, each of you coming tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to do this and to present your concerns to us. But one of the things that I take a look at that really moves me is the housing study that was done in Black Diamond. And when this was done in the 2023 election, as I was campaigning, one thing that I heard over and over again is that we need diverse choices in town. In that campaign and around this table, I don't use the word affordable. Because affordable is a moving target. What's affordable to you might not be affordable to me. So if we can have something that presents choice, that's awesome. My son's gonna be 25 in a few months' time. I'd love him to, once he's done state, to find a place here in town. But with the prices where they're at, you know, he missed the market 8 years ago when my daughter bought a place, you know? So he's got a decent down payment, but he doesn't have 100 grand to drop on a house. So I think we have a responsibility to look long-term. That is council's responsibility. Part of our mandated regulation is what is the long-term health of the community. And that includes providing diverse housing options. So for that, I support the motion as presented by Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Councillor Gordon. Councillor Kelly.
Yeah, just quickly, final comment here for me. And thanks for bringing all that up, Councillor Gordon. Just in speaking to the character of the community, just because Councillor Holiday brought it up, I, as a resident of this area, would prefer to see this type of frontage rather than high density like townhouses or something bigger than that. That's not what I'd like to see in the community here. You did mention at the end of one street that there was, I think it's a triplex there that you brought up. Yeah, I don't want to see those popping up all over the community. I would prefer to see this type of street frontage right here. And I think that most residents in favor or opposed would agree if they had a choice. And I know R1 is still a choice too, but they'd probably prefer to see that versus duplexes or a quad stack row housing there. That's it for me.
All right, thank you. Last comments, any further comments? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor for second reading. All in favor? All opposed? That's carried. And third reading, can I get a third reading, please?
I can give you that.
Thank you, Councilor Burton. Third reading for bylaw 2024-52. Any further comments? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? And there you go. That is carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to bylaw 2025-100, credit card borrowing bylaw. Well, this one sounds exciting. Yeah, I do. Please do.
Yeah, the council give bylaw 2024 oh, I'm on the wrong one.
25, your worship.
2025, sorry, here we go. Let me just look through this.
2025-100, credit card
sorry.
borrowing bylaw, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, you got it.
I just want to make sure I have the right motion. The council give bylaw 2025-100 credit card borrowing bylaw first reading.
Excellent. Mr. Davey, give us a little background here. What do you need it for? Don't tell me skiing trips in.
All in there.
Yeah, it's an annual process, your worship. So the next two bylaws is every year they'll come back to council for approval. So this allows staff to use purchasing parts.
Straightforward. Nothing new in there. Exactly the same.
Slight increase.
Slight increase. All right, sounds good. Heather, did you want to make comment there?
No comment.
Heather or Hazel?
Kind of the annual thing that we have to do.
Hazel's got one.
She doesn't, you asked her.
No,
Now she feels pressured to talk about it.
I already got questions written down. So, at one time, the credit cards were only for managers. Are they now going to be given to other staff, like maybe our deputy fire chiefs or?
Yeah, that's the idea. There could be other positions that require them from time to time as well. So this provides a bit more flexibility. So in the past, when other staff needed to use it, they'd put on their own credit card. And on occasion, they'd have some risk because they carry that cost. So this is pretty standard with anyone.
Like Heather said, it's a yearly pass. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Yep, keep it coming.
Council give bylaw 2025-100 second reading.
Thank you. Any further comment? Vernon, can we roll the scroll here?
Oh.
Just so we can.
Sorry, yes, I
get it
can do
up
that.
there.
My apologies.
So people can see what we're doing. Thank you. All right, I have no comment, so all in favor? Excellent. I will give,
I'll give you third.
Present.
Or that we present bylaw 2025-100 for third reading at this meeting.
thank you. All in favor? And that is unanimous as required. And I will give the council give a bylaw 2025-100 third and final reading at this time, January 15th, 2025. All in favor? Sir. That's carried. Thank you. Are you opposed? Good. Just want to make sure. All right, good. Excellent. Bylaw 2025-99 operational line of credit borrowing bylaw. Boy, they just keep one money. Right?
The council give bylaw 2025-99, the operational line of credit borrowing bylaw first reading.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Davy. Anything new in this one for us to?
Nothing to your worship, so we did not use it last year. Again, we never intend to use it. It's just that rainy day fund. Better to have it than not.
Thank you. You already started us off. Any comments or questions concerning that? It's operational straight up. Thank you. All in favor? Excellent.
I'll give you the second,
Thank you.
that we give bylaw 2025-99 its second reading.
Thank you. All in favor? And I will give the council agree to present bylaw 2025-99 for third reading at this meeting. All in favor? Thank you. And hey,
That council give bylaw 2025-59 third and final. 99, pardon me. Third and final.
thank you. Last comments? None. Seeing all in favor? Thank you. That's carried. Moving on to action items, CAO report 9.1. It is 7:25. Okay, we're good. Hazel removed this one, Deputy Mayor Martin removed 9.1 from the consent agenda. For the public's information, the consent agenda is really a great document. It gives all the background information, all the committee meetings and all the correspondence is all at that front. And we adopt that at the start of the meeting to really get the meeting moving. And it's an opportunity at the very start of the meeting, if there's something in here that has some meat and bones, some good criteria that we want to discuss or point out, or some pros and cons, we remove it and we place it in the general meeting. And that is what we've done here. So Hazel, why don't you lead us off?
Adam, I got about almost a dozen questions to ask.
Oh,
For the different departments.
Okay, yeah, I can take notes and, yeah, back you on most of them.
So the fee assistance program, was the program now being administered by the town staff? Will Open Oaks Family Resources no longer be involved with the screening process?
I'll definitely have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, will residents need to meet specific income thresholds to qualify for assistance?
Again, you're probably better off if you're putting them into an email and sending them to me. And then
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
answer a little more substantively.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
All righty. That's it. You're just gonna fire it off, which is good.
And
Yeah.
your worship, if you want, I mean, I can put that in the next agenda, or I can just send it out to all of you also.
How about if we put it in the next agenda for,
Consent.
for transparency.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right.
I also have a question.
Yep. You got
That could possibly be asked tonight. It's been brought up at our FCSS meeting regarding the Community Volunteer Income Tax Preparation Program. And a motion that was put forward by Councillor Holiday way back when in January to cancel the program for 2026. And the question was why? And I was trying to answer it because I know that there's there's good reasons. Except for it's paid for by a grant that the government provides, so I'm not sure. If we could get a response on that, why we would cancel it for 2026.
I thought it was changing through. the
Yeah, there was changes to the federal government, that. And it's been too long for me to remember what it was, but yeah, I know. that
But they haven't
federal changes.
taken the grant away, that's what the concern was with the FCSS, the grant.
Yeah, it might have been like
continuing.
1 year early or something like that.
I could partially
Yeah.
answer that.
Yeah.
Your Worship. So when this came before council for those service reductions, 25, we narrowed it down as the bridge year, and then 26 would be ended. So the intent here is with that grant that if that was something the FCSS board chose to do, they could. But what this by the town stepping away from it, we're more in line with a lot of other municipalities. It's just simply not a municipal service. And if council wanted to bring that back, it'd be most appropriate at
That was the question that the board wanted to know, can we still do it? And that, what was the FCSS coordinator that couldn't respond to that question, she didn't know the answer. So that was the question is, can the FCSS board continue the service?
Let me get back to your worship. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. That one can be an email then.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Anything further, Heather?
No, that was it.
All right, Councillor Thompson's good, Deputy Mayor, good. Okay, everybody else good. Moving on, 9.2 Marigold Library System. That hurt my spine. Representation, alternate representative to the Marigold Library System Board. Vern, take us away.
So my apologies for the delay. I dropped this one in November with budgets and big bylaws and everything. The Diamond Valley Library Board sends representatives to the Marigold System Library Board. And they've asked for an alternate rep. For one of the actual appointed rep, who I believe is Mr. Huffman, isn't able to attend. And there's a big workshop coming up that they want to go to before the next council meeting. So thank you for squeezing this much time.
Then I will give a motion that council appoint Ted Bain as the Diamond Valley Library Board's alternative representative to the Marigold Library System Board. Deputy Mayor, is that in line with thinking of the board?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Nope. Excellent. All in favor? Thank you. 9.3, council remuneration discussion. Councillor Gordon, why don't you give us a little background as to why you'd like to see a small discussion on this, and when we can bring it to Cal,
Yeah.
just from that higher level.
Yeah, short and sweet. So in 2023, we stood up was it 2023, 2022, 2023? We stood up a council remuneration committee for the first time in the history of our town, if I'm not mistaken. And they presented to council their recommendations for our honorarium and our per diem rates and so on and so forth. We reviewed that in May of 2023. Terms of reference were designed. We did some work on that in December of 2023 as well. And so in the policy itself, it says the CAO should review this every 3 years or at his discretion, his or her discretion. But in our terms of reference, it also states that this committee should be stood up in the year of an election. And so because it's basically only been enacted for just over a year, I'm wondering, my thoughts on this, to be quite honest, is that I don't know that it's necessary for this to be happening at the current stage. And if council would be willing to discuss this and maybe even entertain that it gets pushed off per the policy.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we should amend it for a 2/3 vote to initiate the process in another year or disband it, discard it. I don't know what the word would be in
Disband.
this, or to not stand it up in an election year. Like it should give us the option to say no. That we don't have, like, it doesn't give us an out to, it just says shall be called up. Or we just change it to is recommended. And lighten it so we can, I don't know which way is easiest to say 2/3 council to not have it or just recommend it or just change the shall to a may.
I guess first, before you go down a rabbit hole, I think you gotta finish that sentence, right? The committee shall be called up in the year of a general election unless the 2/3 vote of council initiates a process in another year. So you could just put a motion to say, not this year, next year. And we can vote on that and then it goes ahead for next year. So that's your out. Is we can just.
I kind of read that though, my interpretation of that, the manner in which it's written, that council shall be called up, or the committee shall be called up for, in the year of the general election, unless a 2/3 vote of council initiates the process in another year other than the year of the election.
Yeah.
That's the intent.
Yeah.
So we're in the year of election, so therefore the way this is written, we can't amend it.
We can't change it.
It's not interesting. Let's go to our aficionados. I would say that that gives us the power to say, push it off to the new council next year. Right? And then let the new council have.
There's subjectivity there, that's it.
Yeah, let's see what the verse.
So the intent, if we can all take the fuzz out of our brain from 2023. The intent was that council wanted to have this committee review the wages, the remuneration for the following year. So whatever the work of this committee that would be called up in 2025 would do, would set the budget for 2026.
Oh.
And for that electoral term.
So it would come back in maybe December then.
It would come back to you. The goal would be to have it ready to go out in the handbooks. So that's why I rushed at getting them.
The new council.
So the policy would take any amendments or whatever recommendations you would take from the committee, but it would push it forward into the next council's budget and set their wages for them.
Okay, so another reason I wanted, because it's in the public eye, people have reached out to me and said, what are you guys doing? You want more money?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Calgary
and
just gave 3%.
because Okotoks just did a
Yeah.
massive raise,
Huge.
like huge,
Yeah.
significant.
Yeah.
And so, as did Calgary. And so being a little bit selfish, I didn't want to come across that way in the community. But now that you stated it this way, communications are awesome. It'd be great to add a piece to that Facebook post stating that this is in preparation for the 2026 budget. That could just be added,
Sure.
because that will alleviate a lot of the concerns that I've heard in the community.
Yeah. And the perception for us going into an election.
Right?
And if I could, the 2/3 vote was intended, should any council want to institute a review during.
During
term.
their term, yes.
So the goal was only do it
Not-
once in advance of the term. But
Not
if something should happen that it needs to be
Yeah.
reviewed during a term, then it would take a 2/3 vote of council to agree to reopen that campus.
If council doesn't mind, I'll make a quick motion.
Cindy wants to comment first, and I'd like to throw a comment and then you can motion.
Okay.
I personally wouldn't want to be touching wages right now with a 10-foot pole, so my problem with it is making a committee go through a whole bunch of work to review
Yeah.
something that, I would never, I don't
We're not
even want to
discussing.
kill it. I don't want to discuss. We just did it. So I feel like we're wasting people's time.
Yeah.
Yes, there's been inflation and all these things, but it was 13 months ago, you said, that we reviewed it. And the whole point of council is you're not in it for the money, you're in it because you love the community, and we're not trying to keep up with anyone or pay great salaries. It's a public service, yeah. Nor do I ever want it where people are running
No.
because they think it's a good gig. You know, I want people running because they're in it for the public service, not the money. So for me, it seems like a waste of time when I just can't see there being an argument to increase our wages after we did have a slight bump up, just 13 months ago. So I don't want to waste anyone's time, so it would be nice to have the out. Right? Versus, it's just too bad, we've already put it out there, but
Okay,
yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't want to waste time.
appreciate that. I'm gonna comment as, Heather, sorry. you go.
I'm just fine with it being in preparation for the 2026 budget. Cause it'll come during the is it called? Bruna.
Are
It'll come
you
to,
talking about like the
Nomination?
the red?
no, it'll come after everybody's elected,
No,
right? No, but
We can make it, that, I was gonna make the
That's
motion
what-
that it would actually come after
it'll be in preparation for the 2026 budget.
budget only to be.
And it'll be the next council that would make the decision. They'd read the report. The report would be prepared for the next council.
If I may, your worship, just so. Cause, you know, you could push it after the next council, like Councilor Thompson's mentioning. To go the other way, like Councilor Holiday's mentioning, like. Might have to repeal a bylaw, like there's a process to it, so. If you're looking for a simple halfway there, I would probably recommend what Councilor Thompson's mentioning.
Go ahead, Hazel.
Are you not looking for volunteers to sit on that committee right now?
Yeah, that's correct, your worship. So this is a going concern, right? So this is operational at this point. This takes place everywhere.
Three volunteers right here.
So, yeah, so that direction's quite important to change it because the idea here, like, Verna's mentioning is we, you know, as per the terms of reference, we want to have this wrapped up in a few months' time.
Thank you. I'm just gonna make a quick comment here. I think it just goes forward. It gets done. The last committee did it. We took the recommendations as a council, we tweaked it slightly, and we approved it. This is for the new council coming in. Inflation has gone through the roof, so that's why we're seeing other communities do it. But we don't have a say in this. The committee would make those recommendations to the new council. We would simply pass it over and it's sitting there on a budget line, and maybe it comes in lower, you don't know, right? But it's committee work. And we really shouldn't have any eyes on it until they do that work. But Councillor Gordon, make a motion.
Simple motion, that council directs administration to amend the request as posted on Facebook to indicate that it will be for the 2026 budget and that the report will be presented to the incoming council.
That's perfectly fine by me for comment. That makes total sense. It should not be us at this point.
Yeah.
This is the word of the committee. It rolls forward. That's it.
Does that work, Verna?
Yeah, I think that your worship, I think that follows the terms of reference that keeps things simple.
Keeps everybody clean.
That the new council will make the decision.
We don't have to vote. Yes, no, we don't even see it. It's fine.
No, motion is made. Anyone want to comment on it?
Get her
Yeah.
done.
And you know, we don't see it. That's the the next council sees it. So we're more than arm's length away.
Perfect. All in favor? Thank you. Excellent. All right. Thank you, public, for attending. Appreciate having a little audience tonight. Thank you for stepping up, Kimberly, and speaking. A lot of people don't have the fortitude to get up there and do that little bit. So thank you for doing that. Really appreciate it. We're gonna have another closed session here, so we're gonna have a 5-minute recess. And then we're gonna have a closed session and then we're done for tonight. So thank you for coming. All right, thank you. We're reconvening after our, I don't know, few minutes of recess. Anyway, it's 7:46. We're gonna reconvene. And with that, we are going to move into a closed session under section 25(1)(c) and 19(1), 17(4)(d). So can I get a motion for that? Brendan gives us that. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. And we will turn off camera and microphone.